Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Hope you're having a great week and ready for a great weekend. Let's jump right into this. Of course, we got, Amir Khan, Kell, Brook taking place tomorrow. That's the big fight of the weekend, the grudge match. You guys saw the weigh-in. We could talk about that for you weigh-in bros. I know you love to comment about weigh-ins. A lot of people thought that Brook looked stronger during fight week and during the weigh-in, so we could talk about that. I'm sticking with my prediction. I know maybe I'll look completely stupid. It won't be the first time after this fight, but I'm going with Amir Khan. I don't know why. I just have a gut feel, and I'm going with Amir Khan. So that's all I can really say. But yeah, we got a bunch of you guys already in the comment section. Make sure that you go ahead and click that thumbs up button. And I want to jump right into this, man. I'm going to have a little fun today at one particular reporter's expense, but it's not because I have anything against this person. It's just that the breaking news stuff, I don't lose any sleep over it. It doesn't annoy me that much. It just makes me kind of laugh. The desperation that people have. But also what I will say is the way that our media is structured now in the news cycle, the way it works now in boxing, it's indicative of all media. It's not just boxing, but it's just very interesting the way these things work. So over the last week or so, Mike Coppinger, who again, Mike Coppinger, I have nothing against as a human being. I've met him a few times. We've interacted a few times in person and through text and stuff like that. I have nothing against the dude. Seems like a nice guy, whatever. I wouldn't really go to him for boxing expertise, for analysis, or like if I was a betting man, I wouldn't go for him on like a breakdown of a fight and how I should bet. He is a breaking news guy, right? And he has found a niche for himself in the industry. He's also a guy that does favors and has connections. He has friends who has friends. And he's been able to work his way up on the business side of the business, if that makes any sense. Okay. He's a guy that kind of plays the role. All right. He would do very well in Hollywood if he were like a manager or somebody like that of talent. He very much would fit into that world. Okay. I wouldn't call him a boxing guy. I don't even know if he followed boxing 10, 15 years ago. I'm not sure. He came into the boxing world and ultimately to ESPN/Disney through connections he had, right? So anyway, he over the last week or so has tweeted about, kind of what he always does, tweet sources. And he never names the sources. It's always anonymous. Sources, Canelo Alvarez is ready to sign a deal to fight. And at first it was with the Zone/Matchroom to fight Bivol and then Golovkin. Then suddenly out of nowhere, PBC is offering, and their deal is $100 million. And it's Charlo and then Benavidez, right? And then 2 seconds later, it's, he turned down the deal. And, today he took a shit. No, there was corn in it. And, tomorrow he's going to go have enchiladas with his friend. I mean, it's just all this shit, right? And Coppinger has gotten it wrong a lot lately because he doesn't talk. Now, sometimes he talks to people directly related to the situation. He will talk to a fighter, a promoter, whoever. But a lot of times he has an agent that leaks information to him, an agent with a powerful agency, and Coppinger is signed with a powerful agency. He's repped by a pretty powerful talent agency, and there's a person he knows that leaks a lot of information to him, and he has a few of these people, but there's one in particular. And so he'll just report rumors and stuff he hears as news. And he's been called out by promoters before. He's been called out by even other media members kind of lightly. People tread water with that. They don't want to step too deep in with that. But a lot of promoters and even like trainers have called him out. But today, a fighter called him out. And that's happened recently, but it was the number one fighter in the world. And when that's happening, that's pretty interesting. So I'm sharing my screen right here. And I can't quote Mike Coppinger's original tweet here because he deleted it. But Canelo Alvarez said, I didn't even agree to any fight. We're still negotiating. Don't lie to the people. The day I sign the contract, I'll let them know. Right now, there's nothing concrete. And this is what I've been telling you guys for the last week or so related to this situation and many others, right? And I've been trolling with this over the last few days, not just at Coppinger, okay? And again, I want to make it very clear. I have nothing against Mike Coppinger. All right. He does a certain thing that I wouldn't do, but that is his niche. And he has found a way to get paid and make a very good living in this industry doing what he does. And don't get it twisted. He's loving this because his name has been mentioned on every boxing website this week, every podcast, every YouTube channel. And I'm talking about him. Not that he gives a shit if I'm talking about him, but you guys get the point. Everyone's talking about him, and Canelo Alvarez retweeted him. When the number one fighter in the world is putting you on blast, he's loving this because it's attention, right? It's traffic for him. And ultimately, that's what he's there to do at ESPN. He's not really there to analyze a fight or anything like that. Okay, so I love that Canelo did this. I love that the actual fighter is taking control here and saying, all of you, sit the fuck down and just be patient. When there's something concrete to report, I will do it. This person is lying to you. Nobody in media, nobody in the boxing media will call this out because they're afraid of burning a bridge, and down the road it could cost them a job, because there's only about a dozen or so people that are heavily connected to the agencies, like the talent agencies, and the network executives, okay? Mainly like the ESPN, the Fox, very powerful entities. There's only about a dozen or so people in all of the American boxing industry, maybe not even that many, that are connected to the people that actually make decisions and can get you a job. Coppinger's one of them. So in that respect, he's a powerful guy. And people in the media don't want to talk about this, right? Even though they talk about it behind his back all the time, they don't want to put it on record. So I love that Canelo Alvarez just skipped all of that and just put it on blast and said, you're fucking lying. Nothing's signed. Shut up. So bad to the point where Coppinger had to delete his tweet. He's not the only one who does this. There's a few others. A few others have tweeted things in recent days that are just as false, okay? But Coppinger is the one I'd say that's the most guilty in recent times. But he's built a name for himself doing this. And again, he loves the attention, whether it's positive or negative, because there's no such thing as bad press, right? So this is all good for his brand and what he does. But I do love the fighter taking control here, and I wish more people would take charge in matters like this. Here's the part that I don't like, okay? The way the boxing media is structured now, and again, this is all media, okay? It's not just in boxing. It's from political media to all types of sports media, entertainment media, all of it. But sticking with boxing media specifically, Coppinger will tweet something, okay? We're just using him as an example this week because he's the latest example, but it could be anybody, okay? But he'll tweet something, and he'll say, sources, Canelo Alvarez is right there, about to sign a deal to fight these two guys. Let's say Bivol Golovkin. And it's for X amount of dollars. By the way, those dollar figures, not all the time, but many times they're not accurate anyway, because it includes incentives and upgrades and things like that are not part of the base salary. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. A lot of times the numbers you guys see in these contracts is fucking bullshit. Be that as it may. He'll tweet something like that. And what happens is all the boxing websites will take that and post it as news, including Ring TV. This is something that we do. I don't post these articles. Anytime it's like, hey, who wants to post about this? I just delete. I don't even respond to that shit. I want no part of it. But there's several people on staff who jump right on it. They love tweeting this or writing about this shit. Good for them. Cool. But it's not my thing. But all the boxing sites will post some sort of just quick little article, few paragraphs. It'll literally be 2 or 3 paragraphs sometimes. And it will say, per a tweet by Mike Coppinger. So the source for the article is a tweet with no sources because there's no names. Everything's anonymous, right? There's no fighter referenced, or the fighters are referenced, but in terms of who Cop spoke to, right? It's just anonymous sources. And again, it's this agent that leaks info to them. Or sometimes it's other people, whatever. But I think the reason why Canelo is pissed off and why others have been pissed off at him before is stuff like that ruins negotiations. Because a lot of times, well, let me stick with the media thing. Okay. Let me just stick with one thing at a time. All right. So all the websites will post this as an article, right? And they get their clicks. So all the boxing websites get their clicks. All of the YouTube channel guys post about it. All of the podcasts talk about it because it's Canelo. You're going to get clicks, right? So click, click, click. Everyone's making their money. Boom, boom, boom. And then a day later, a few days later, sometimes it's a week or so later, everything has to be retracted, right? And the retraction is usually like, oh, we got this wrong. Sorry. But for days, sometimes weeks, you got fans talking about something that isn't even fucking happening. That isn't even fucking close to being done, right? Sometimes a network executive might hear about negotiations taking place because it might involve their network. They might not even be part of the negotiations, right? But let's use DAZN as an example. Somebody at DAZN might be aware that an offer was submitted from Matchroom/DAZN to Canelo Alvarez for that 2-fight deal with Bivol and Golovkin. And they might talk to somebody, let's say Coppinger, about this. So it's not even somebody that's actually doing the deal. It's not even somebody that's in the rooms, sending stuff, emailing, texting, talking on the phone. It's just somebody who works down the fucking hall. It's an assistant of an assistant who knows that's going on, right? Because people talk around the office. And that's who leaks the fucking info, okay? And so it gets around sources, tweet goes out, every boxing website tweets this as news, and their source is a tweet. Their source isn't a statement from a promoter or fighter. It's a fucking tweet that says sources. So it's a tweet with no fucking sources. Like, there's no source to the news that's being posted. All of the podcasts, all of the YouTube channels talk about this shit, blah, 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 blah. Then you find out it's all for nothing, right? And people will ask me, well, Mike, what do you think about this negotiation? And I'll be like, there is none. It's a fucking rumor. You want me to give my opinion on a fight, a possible fight? Sure, I'll give my opinion. We could do mythical matchmaking and stuff. Sometimes that's fun. It's just like a pound for pound list or whatever. That's cool. But as far as negotiations, there's nothing I can tell you on the record. I've heard the same shit everybody else in the business has heard, but I'm not going to fucking tweet about it and pretend like I know something other people don't. Now, there are times where I have spoken directly to people involved in a negotiation, and I do have information that is very relevant to a potential fight being put together, but I'm not going to put that on record because I don't want to betray the relationship I have with certain people. Because again, it's not an assistant of an assistant, some kid fetching fucking coffee for somebody. It's the person doing the negotiating, or at least one of them. I don't want to ruin that relationship, so I'm not going to tweet about it until it's on record. You know what I'm saying? And so when I talk to people, I ask, is this on record or off record? Okay, cool. All right, I'll keep it secret. All good. And that's why people call me and talk to me and tell me things. Sometimes, what I was going to get to a minute ago, sometimes a promoter or a couple of promoters will be going back and forth, and a promoter or a manager who's representing their fighter, right? They'll be negotiating with 2 or 3 different entities. And when one of those, when something gets leaked that, oh, they're really going to sign with this guy, that could really fuck up their negotiation. That could mess up what they're trying to do. And that's why you've seen like someone like Bob Arum, they've ripped Coppinger a new asshole, like at different times, right? And not just him. Again, I have to say, not just him, but a lot of now also at times, promoters are very, very savvy, and they will use people to leak information that they know will be tweeted out as part of a negotiation. So some promoters and savvy managers and such use guys like Coppinger and boxing Twitter to manipulate negotiations in their favor too. All of this is part of the sausage being made, right? And I just try not to get too excited about any of it because I've been burned before. There are situations in the past where I recognize that I was kind of used to leak information out there as part of a negotiation, and what I talked about publicly never came to fruition. I was made to look foolish. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this again. So that's why I don't do what Cop does. So anyway, let's check these. We got a couple super chat posts, and I want to check these out, and then we'll talk some more about this. But let's see. Aaron with the super chat. Thank you so much, my man. He says, yo, Mike, nice to see George's homecoming set for early June. Convinced me to make the 2-hour flight to Melbourne and all the masking nonsense when I know better than anyone. It's all theater. Well, look, I don't want to get into politics because everybody will get all butthurt and upset. I would say, if you're in Australia, that's probably one worth going to, because when it's all said and done, with I'm not at liberty to discuss detail. I'm glad actually you brought that fight up, because this is an example. Those of you who follow me on Twitter, and I'll answer your question here in a second, but quick tangent. You saw me tweet, I want to say maybe it was last week, maybe it was this week. It all blurs together. But I tweeted, Devin Haney's team does not want the George Kambosos fight. And some of the Haney defenders shit down my throat, and people said all kinds of nasty stuff. But a lot of people, well, not a lot, but there was a few that were like, well, how do you know? And I'm like, I can't really say. I can't really say publicly, but trust me, I know some things. They don't want the fucking fight, at least not in Australia, at least not to the point where they're willing to make concessions to get it done. They're not making anywhere near the level of concessions Lomachenko's willing to make the damn fight. Loma seems much hungrier to make that fight. For what it's worth, Kambosos would fight Haney, Lomachenko. He'd even fight Garcia, but he views Garcia as a downgrade at this point. And I don't think he means that disrespectfully. He just wants to fight the best guys. He'd fight Tank Davis right now. He'd fight them all. Okay. He's not afraid to fight anybody. But on the other side, I think Lomachenko and his people are totally comfortable going to Australia to fight. They've been fighting in foreign lands, quote unquote, for their entire career. Haney and his people, is it Devin Haney himself necessarily? I never said that. I meant his team, okay? Their collective team does not want the fucking fight. And I can say that with confidence. Now, that can change. Maybe they will change their mind, but based on everything I know to this point, and I have talked to more than one person directly related to that situation, I can promise you all right now, his team does not want that fucking fight. They do not want to travel to Australia and fight George Kambosos there. Don't want it, okay? Trust me. Anyway, so there's an instance where I could have said, sources, it's going to be Lomachenko. I never said that. All I've said to you guys on my show and stuff is, in my humble opinion, take it for what it's worth. I just have a hunch. If I had to bet, I would bet that it's going to be Kambosos and Lomachenko in Australia this summer. That's all I've said, okay? Anyway, Aaron, yes, listen, man, a 2-hour flight, deal with the masking bullshit, deal with all the nonsense, and you know damn well thousands of people in that stadium are going to take their damn mask off, just like everyone did at the fucking Super Bowl here in Los Angeles, the epicenter of wackiness, where insanity meets the sea. That's Los Angeles, right? Everybody took their damn mask off. Even the mayor and the politicians that were there and stuff like that, they all took them off. You're probably going to be able to take your mask off when you go there. Maybe by June, all that will be lifted. Even if you had to wear a mask the whole time, that's going to be an experience for you guys, man. I say go. I say go. Thank you for the super chat. And then we got another one here from Drew. Thank you so much, Drew. He says, they aggregate Coppinger tweets like NBA does Woj. Yeah, you're right. He's one of those corporate guys. And again, I'm not trying to diss him, but it's just the truth, man. It just is what it is. Oh, we got G Funky in the chat. What's up, G Funky? How you doing, man? Let's see. Chad says, Mike, you're not a thirsty bitch. Well, it depends. If we're at the bar and there's good beer on tap, I'm a thirsty bitch, but that's a different kind of thirsty. I see what you did there. Chad. G Funky said, Devin told on himself when he tweeted, I'll take whatever Loma is taking. Yeah, man. Look, it's all theater, guys. It's all theater. And look, if you enjoy tweeting about the shit and getting excited and talking about the rumors, I get it. If I can make a humble suggestion to my colleagues in boxing media, I would say when you report this shit, it should be under a different section of your site, because there's like an editorial section, a news section, fight results, all that kind of stuff. This should be under rumors. This should just be called rumors. And that's where you post this stuff. Cool. Then you're at least telling the truth about it. This is just a rumor. A dude who sits on the phone all day tweeting to people and texting and chatting with people heard a rumor that this fight's being negotiated. Boom. You can put it there, right? And that's what cop is. And again, I'm not saying that disrespectfully. That's what he is. He's not a fighter. He's not a promoter. He's not a network guy. He doesn't know. He's not in the rooms. He's not doing the negotiating. Now, cop has broke news before where he has spoken directly to a promoter or an advisor, a fighter, whoever. That's different. Okay. That is very different. But when it comes to breaking news, guys, is it really that important anymore? And this is something I've talked about all the time, but does anybody remember who broke the news that Canelo and Golovkin were fighting? Does anybody really remember who the first person was to tweet about it? Anybody? Does anybody remember who was the first person to tweet about, I don't know, Chocolatito and Estrada, their rematch? I mean, do you guys remember that? Or do you just remember the fucking fight? Nobody remembers who the first person is. Everyone's so desperate to get clicks. They're so thirsty to get clicks. Get your clicks, homie. I do a show Monday. I do a show Friday. I follow a certain format. Sometimes we address rumors, sometimes, but I'll call it what it is. But for the most part, we talk about actual news. We review what actually happened. We preview what's actually coming up. And then we have phone conversations. That's what we do. And I don't get as many clicks as some of these other guys. I don't give a shit. That's not why I'm doing it. Right. So I don't know. The desperation is what cracks me up. CJ Duncan in the house with the super chat. Thank you, CJ. He says, which phrase is most overused in boxing? He ducking versus at the end of the day, salute MOB. I would say by boxing fans, he ducking. By fighters during post-fight interviews, at the end of the day. That's what I would say. Yeah, you know, at the end of the day is one of those phrases I used to use, and then I caught myself and I'm like, I'm saying this too damn much because, you know, I'm talking to my wife. You know, at the end of the day, I like creamy peanut butter better than chunky. Like, what? So I caught myself saying it, and now I stop myself. If I hear myself about to say it, I stop and I use a different expression. That is what I do. James Hunt, Watergate source was secret for how long? Aaron says, let's see, when Lomachenko was at 126, 130, it was, I guess you're responding to somebody else. You thought he would win, but at 135, you see him getting hit a lot. Yeah, and he's just slowing down. He's fighting bigger guys. That's just what happens. George, Mike, you broke the news about Adelaide Bird having a dodgy card. Oh, dude, that's a great example. Not that this is about me, but okay, because my Canelo Golovkin example, I'm just thinking of the last really big fight that was like a real boxing fans kind of fight, right? Like diehard boxing fans, big fucking, that was like the Super Bowl for diehard fight fans. What do you guys remember more? Who broke that story that fight was going to happen, or me sticking it to Bob Bennett afterwards? I guarantee I still get beers bought for me today at fights because people come, yo, you're the guy that slammed the commission for those shitty scorecards. Dog, that was the shit. I got you a beer. I still get free beers for that, okay? Nobody remembers who the fuck broke the news that fight was happening, but people remember that. There you go. Boom. That's why I don't give a shit about breaking news. Mitch said, I heard a rumor that Nacho is going to call in soon. Nacho says, I can neither confirm nor deny. Taurine says, Mike Montero better than Mike Coppinger. Look, I'm not saying that. Mike Coppinger makes more money than me, and he is well-connected, but he is a guy that plays the game. You guys know that I've dabbled in Hollywood, and I've done like some acting roles and some stunt roles on different soap operas and shit. And I kind of did some of that stuff for fun on the side. I kind of walked backwards into it, and I've had opportunities to do more of it at different times, but I can't be one of those people. I just can't do it. I wish I could. I wish I could be one of those industry kind of people, but I just can't do it. And I have the talent to be in that business and to do that stuff. In boxing, I feel I could do it all. I feel ringside commentary, editorial reporting, deadline reporting, any of it, radio stuff. I feel like I can compete with anybody. I really do. Not because I'm arrogant, but because I'm confident. But I can't be one of those industry kind of people. The cool thing about boxing is I am still able to be myself and work in the business. Boxing is still real and raw enough of a sport where that's allowed. But like the NFL, the NBA, like all this other stuff, you guys look at who covers those sports. Yeah, a lot of them are former players and stuff that are doing like the commentary, but they're industry people. They're bought and paid for, and they're playing the game, and there's not an organic thought shared by any of them. They are all, it's like cookie cutter. They're all very cookie cutter and think and feel and speak the exact same way. I ain't built like that. Deed with the super chat. Thank you so much, Deed. He said, boxing is like when's the next purse bid now? Yeah, dude, that's so right. When's the next purse bid? Actually this week, Al Bernstein tweeted, and Al's totally positive when it comes to boxing, right? Because he works in the industry and he's an industry guy, even though it's not necessarily his background. He plays that role and he does it very well. And he's one of the best in the business. I really enjoy Al's commentary. I think he's great, very knowledgeable. But even he tweeted this week, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said, there's no fights going on right now. So fans are talking more about the business of the sport than actual fights. And maybe that's the issue more than anything. To your point, Deed, and to Al's point, and this is something, of course, I've talked about a lot. These fighters, like a superstar like Canelo, fights once or twice a year in this era. There's no stay busy fights. I mean, last year he did, but because he only fights once or twice a year, and like, dude, we're in February. We're the second month of the year in, and I wanted to do this. Let's go to the pound. I want to go to the pound for pound list and see who actually has a fight scheduled. I'm not even talking about they fought yet because it's only February. I want to know who has a fight scheduled. So we're going to do that. But because these guys don't fight enough, people are talking about purse bids and ratings and pay-per-view buys. And this is the shit that fans argue about in this era because there's so few fights. But so I'm looking here. Okay, I'm on Ring's pound for pound list. Canelo, still mulling it over, right? Or mulling over the possibilities. Is that the right words of the is that the right use of the word? I don't know. Mulling over? I think so. Alexander Usyk, it's like we know who he's going to fight, but it's not done yet. He's going to fight AJ, not done yet. Terrence Crawford, he's just floating out in space right now. We have no idea what the hell's up with him. In a way, we don't know what's up with him. Josh Taylor, we know that he has a mandatory defense against Catterall. And then after that, we really don't know. Spence is supposed to fight Ugas. It's not. We have a date and everything, but it's probably going to be on Fox pay-per-view. And then Estrada, Lomachenko, maybe he gets the fight with Kambosos. We don't know. Ioka, Tyson Fury. So look, 2 guys out of the 10 have a fight that is officially on the books right now. Okay, that's not good, dude. These guys need to get fights and need to sign them, and it's got to be official. Even if like Canelo doesn't fight till May, if it's official now, we know who he's fighting, well, then you could start building it and fans can start talking about that matchup instead of sources. Canelo is drinking cappuccino this morning. What does this mean? Like, that's what people are talking about. If he actually had a fight and it was on the schedule, then people could start talking about that matchup, right? That's the problem. These dudes just are not fighting enough. All right, let's we got Nacho on the line right here. Let's bring him on the show because he's been waiting for a minute. He called in early, so he's definitely got some opinions on this. All right, Nacho, you're on. What's up, man?
Nothing much, Mike. Just listening here. I agree with a lot of the stuff you said as far as like these dudes spend more time arguing about, the ancillary stuff outside of boxing versus fights being made. And I agree. I wish guys fought more often, but unfortunately, we're in this time period right now where guys are not fighting more than twice a year, if that, and it just sucks. It's kind of annoying, to say the least, as a boxing fan. it's tough to deal with sometimes, but you just got to roll with it. I think eventually guys will start to be more active, but for the time being, yeah, it's kind of tough to deal with. Seeing guys perform twice a year, that's pretty tough. I just wanted to touch on a couple of things really quick. You were talking about the whole Cambosos saga with everybody that kind of was crapping on you for the whole Haney fiasco.
Mm.
I just thought it was kind of hilarious that his dad actually had the balls to say that if the fight was made in the U.S., they could sell out a stadium because his son was involved in the fight. And I was like, really? I was like, this dude couldn't even sell out the Michelob Arena in Las Vegas where he lives. And I'm supposed to believe that he could sell out a fucking stadium fighting Cambosos?
Right.
Come on. Like at that point, I just couldn't believe anything that was coming out of their mouths, So I believed from jump that they never wanted that fight in Australia. They only wanted that fight if it could take place in the U.S. They just refused to travel. And now that Loma has basically swooped in and looks like he's going to get the fight, now all of a sudden they're trying to save face by claiming that, that Cambosos never wanted the fight, that he ducked them, blah, blah, blah. But it's all BS. We could see, a lot of us who follow the sport can see that it was all nonsense. And then with the fights that are happening tomorrow, Mike, I'm sure you saw the weigh-in with Brook and Khan.
Yeah.
I was very surprised that Brook made weight at the contracted catch weight that they had, and he didn't look like he was dried out or it looked like he killed himself to make that weight. So I was really shocked at that point because normally he looks like he struggles to cut to 47, and the fact that he actually made that catch weight with no problem, he looks solid. So, we'll see how he responds tomorrow night. I'm just curious to see how these guys, look in the ring against each other, even though both guys are past it and, maybe it'll be entertaining, but, that's what I'm hoping for. I also wanted to tell the guys in the chat and everybody who listens, the Linares Abdulmayev fight that's taking place tomorrow, it's actually being picked up on ESPN Plus as well. So people will be able to watch it and see what happens there. Because, it is an eliminator for Haney's belt. So I'm curious to see, who wins that fight and do they get a shot at him if they win that fight. So, just letting the guys know. And then with the card that's going on with in Tijuana with Munguia, man, I'm a little worried, Mike. I saw Steve Kim was reporting on Twitter that he had heard that Munguia didn't look good and he thought something was wrong with him as far as like him weighing in today. And then I went on there and I looked myself and there was actually a video someone posted on Twitter where right after the weigh-in, Munguia sitting in a chair, sucking down, a really big bottle of water, and they're kind of fanning him to kind of help him like recover, I guess, from having, made weight. So, and then right after a couple of minutes of sitting in the chair, he ends up lying down on the floor, and then his team pick him up off the floor and then escort him out of the venue where the weigh-in took place. So, yeah, I'm a little worried about that now because I thought if he comes in shape and nothing's wrong, he should be Ballard, who I think is a decent fighter, but I don't think he's better than Jaime. But now the tables might have tilted a little bit in Ballard's favor because if Munguia had issues making weight, that's not a good look for him. And I'm going to be really focused in on that fight to see how he looks tomorrow night because, he can rehydrate all he wants, but if he killed himself to make 60, oh man, that's going to be a long night for him. And then there was one other tidbit of news that I saw earlier that I was interested in talking about. I'm trying to think.
For this week, is it the heavyweights fighting? There's a couple heavyweights. No. It's not an actual fight. It was just a piece of news relating to somebody. I was trying to remember who it was because I saw it and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Oh no, wait, it wasn't a piece of news. Sorry, I just wanted to bring up one fight on the undercard of the Munguia fight tomorrow night. William Zepeda is a prospect that I've watched recently, and I really like the kid, and he's fighting on that undercard, and I think that dude could legitimately be a problem for anybody at 35, and I hope that at some point he becomes a mandatory for a title shot, because none of these guys are going to want to get in there with him and fight him of their own volition. I think it's going to take him getting into a mandatory spot in order to get into, you know, a title shot, because the kid is huge at lightweight and he's just an offensive machine. He throws punches for days and he's entertaining to watch. So I really hope that, you know, guys, if they're watching the card tomorrow, they pay attention to him and he puts on a really good show, you know, regarding that. And then also, too, the other thing I was bringing up was, the Boots Castillo fight. What do you think of that fight, Mike?
What, Jaron Ennis? His next fight?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, is that an eliminator? Did they make that an eliminator?
Yeah, they said it's for an IBF eliminator.
Yeah. So the IBF champ right now is Spence, right?
Spence. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't think I just can't see Spence or the winner between him and Ugas fighting Ennis at all. I don't see that happening. So I think Ennis is going to be the IBF champ within about a year. That's what I would predict.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen Castillo fight? Because I haven't.
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I can't say I have.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I have no idea. Like, I've never seen a fight of his, and I'm just wondering how he got into an eliminator against Boots. But, I mean, some people are saying he's good. Some people are saying he's just a guy. So, yeah, I don't know. All right, Mike. Well, that's my call.
All right, man. Have a good one, Nacho. Have a good weekend, man.
Thanks. You too. Thanks. You too.
Yeah, I haven't seen Castillo fight. Trey in the chat says, that concrete, Mike. Man, guys, so my master bathroom, the shower started leaking, right? And there was a walk-in shower. We haven't done anything to it. It's the only thing in our house we haven't changed. It was original. Well, not original, but the previous owners did it. Started leaking water. Fucked up my wood floors just outside of it. So I had to break up all the damn tile, everything this week. There was a bench in there. I had to rip all that shit out. It's been a nightmare. And now I'm having to jackhammer under the concrete to get under the drain and the P-trap and all that shit to get down there because we have to redo all that. We found the leak. They didn't even put a pan underneath the damn shower. I don't want to get too technical with this shit, but they didn't line it. They didn't put a pan down there, nothing. So the water was hitting the bench and leaking behind it because they didn't install that correctly. It's been a nightmare. So I've been jackhammering fucking concrete the last 24 hours. Trey knows because we were talking about it last night. And he made an inappropriate joke about my jackhammering, but we won't share that here. All right, so you guys see the weigh-in video. We could talk about that if you want to. One of you guys asked about my my acting stuff. Here, I want to show you something real quick. Let me pull this up. Check this out. Here's the kid on, is this Young and the Restless? I was an abusive cop and I beat this kid up. So I don't have all these clips. I just have a few clips, but this is just one little clip. I've never watched the show, but I think I was on like 4 episodes of this. I was on like 3 episodes of Days of Our Lives. And then I did a bunch of stuff where, this is a pilot I did. Ultimately, this show, but they took it and recast it with all different people. Was on FX, but I did a bunch of different stuff where I did stunts, and that was a lot of fun. But some of that stuff, it doesn't really get credited, but you still get paid. You get paid. So, but yeah, I got a few clips of some stuff here. You guys could check this out. Let's see. I want to make sure I haven't missed anything here in the chat. Michael Mendiola mentioned that Jaime Munguia always struggles to make weight. Oh, here's this is Days of Our Lives, right? I was played like an abusive prison guard. I'm always like an asshole that beats people. And I'm just when we were doing this scene, I was punching like too fast. because they were like, punch him. And by the way, this old man, you can't see him, but there's another old guy over there. That's my boss. That guy, that is the dude who does the voice for the Chester Cheetah in the Chester Cheetah commercial, the Cheetos commercials. I didn't really know that till I met him. But I had to like slow down and be more goonish with my fighting here. I get electrocuted to death. But I had to fake die too. But those stunts were fun. But I was like punching too fast and too straight. They're like, Mike, you have to go like this. You have to like wing your punch and be really slow and telegraph it and make it real big. And so there was all this, I had to like slow everything down. And I'm like, really? This looks so fucking fake. But that's how they do it on movies, or at least on soap operas. Yeah, but anyway, Mendiola, who has been connected to that camp, all right? So he knows guys in that camp. He's seen Jaime struggle to make weight. He's also seen some other stuff go on with Jaime. I ain't going to talk about here, but Jaime's had some health issues before. Hopefully he'll be okay. Oh, there's me and Army Wives. Army Wives. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that show. Steve Teitelbaum with the super chat. Thank you so much, my man. He says, so who was connected? G Funky says, my grandmother used to watch Days of Our Lives. Oh, here I am in a Spanish soap opera. I'm Carlos, and I die in this soap opera. I get murdered and thrown in a trunk. And they were giving me the lines. Oh, God, here's a student film I did. Where I'm doing MMA shit. This is gay as hell. But they were giving me the lines to do, and I was doing them with like an Italian inflection. And they had to explain like, hey, inflect here instead of there, because I was kind of changing it. And then one of the people says, you talk like you're from Argentina, the way you speak the Spanish. And I'm like, well, yeah, there's a lot of Italian people there. So let's just go with that. And so that's what we did. And it worked. Anyway, I get killed and thrown in the trunk. And I was called Nuestro Barrio. Nuestro Barrio. That's what that show was called. So I was only in one episode of that because I got killed. I got some more TV clips and stuff. I've been in some national commercials. I did a University of Phoenix. That was another Spanish language one where I was Officer Reyes. I was Officer Reyes in that. And then I've done some print ad stuff for like billboards and magazines and stuff. I did a lot of that kind of stuff back in the day, and I made some good cash doing that shit. I just haven't done it like in years because as my boxing profile grew, I just don't have the time. I still have a manager that I talk to sometimes, and they're like, Mike, can I submit you for this? Can I submit you for that? And I'm like, I'm just not ready, dude. I'm doing too much stuff here with boxing because, there's stuff going on here in Atlanta. Maybe in another year or two, once I'm completely finished with this house and things are settled, me and my wife have some things planned out. Maybe once things settle down, I'll get back into it. But yeah, for years I did that stuff before my profile in boxing grew. But now I'm so busy doing boxing work, I don't have time to do acting shit. I just don't. And that industry, the people. I've met some wonderful people, and I still have some good friends in the business that I talk to all the time. And these are names you would know, okay? Mostly behind the camera, but some in front of the camera. But some of these dudes have Oscars in their house and shit. When we hang out at their house and watch football games and stuff, there's a fucking Oscar or Emmy or whatever sitting on their mantle of the fireplace. You're right. These are real ass dudes. But we talk, and they're actually normal people, a handful of them, but they can't talk normal at work. We have to keep it privately, So, but yes, there's several people, and there's a couple people I've thought about bringing on the show, and we've talked about it, and I just haven't gotten around to it. But a couple of my actor friends, maybe I'll bring on just to talk a little bit of boxing, because I think you guys will get a kick out of that. All right, let's jump over to the phones. And we got a couple of UK callers. This is 787. You are on. What's up?
Hello, Mike.
Yes, hello.
Hi, Mike. Yeah, first time caller, fairly long time listener, last couple of years. First time caller. So, really appreciate your sort of unbiased opinion. So, yeah,
thank you.
Really enjoyed listening over the last couple of years.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Cool. Just a couple of points I wanted to touch on. I hope some of them aren't too left field, but Nacho mentioned earlier in the show about William Zepeda on the undercard of the Munguia card tomorrow night. I first saw him just a couple of fights ago, and yes, second what Nacho says, really, really exciting fighter. Really looking forward to seeing how his career goes. Do you know much about him, or what are your thoughts on him as a prospect at 135?
I've seen him fight a couple times. I think I saw him fight Hector Tanahara. That was he's had a couple fights. Actually, he's had a few fights in LA, but I remember the Tanahara fight. I'm just pulling up his record here and showing it on the screen for everybody. But Southpaw to Mexico, 5'9", 69-inch reach, 25 years old. I want to say my friend Steve Kim actually tweeted about him recently too, saying he's going to be one of those guys, kind of like a Jaron Boots Ennis, that is going to have to use the sanctioning body system to become a mandatory, probably to get a title shot, because he's going to be avoided.
Yeah, he's just got a really exciting style, and I think a lot of people weren't expecting him to do so well against Tanahara, but he just completely bossed him. So that was a sort of eye opener for me. Look forward to that. Probably more than he's not fighting a very good opponent tomorrow.
It's more of a stay busy type of fight. He's fighting a guy that's got an undefeated record, but I'm pulling up his record, and it's pretty bleak. Yeah. So this also will be his fight. This opponent, Yarel Cesar, is out of Costa Rica, and almost all of his fights have been in Costa Rica. This is his first fight in Mexico, so you could see he's being brought in as an opponent.
Look good, yeah. But looking forward to that nonetheless. But you brought up the sort of the pound for pound list earlier, or was it the ring ratings? And not many of them have got fights scheduled. I mean, Inoue is one of my favourite fighters of the last few years, and I'm getting a bit concerned about the way his career's gone since the Donaire fight. I mean, has he got the rematch with Donaire? Is that nailed on yet, or is that still?
As far as I know, no. Nothing is 100% official or dialed in yet. But I'm with you. I think I'm really disappointed.
Personally, I'm quite a big boxing fan. I'm not really into it as a sort of a purist. I think it's obviously a fight that should have happened about 10, 12 years.
It's not what I'm into. That's all I'm going to say. Mindiola says Bank of California Stadium. That's right.
Better than the original.
Terminator 2. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think Terminator 2 is definitely a top 5 sequel of all time. You have to put it top 5.
Yeah. I would put there with a Rocky 2 as well for me. Yep.
Godfather 2. Yeah. Aliens.
Yeah.
I'll put Aliens up there.
Definitely Aliens.
What else are we? What's the fifth one?
Oh fuck. Damn.
There's another one. It's like right there, right? And we're just missing it because you're right.
I'm just trying to.
Terminator 2 is better than Terminator. Aliens is better than Alien. Yeah. Godfather 2 is better than Godfather.
Yeah.
Shit. What's the other one?
I can't. Oh damn it. It's gonna annoy me. No. I was gonna say Kill Bill, but I don't know. The first one was pretty goddamn awesome. But I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, that's gonna bug me. But anyway, that's good, yeah. I think about it and just like tweet you. And there's the fucking tip of my thumb kind of thing, yeah. But anyway, I wanted to call with regard to the
oh dude, it looks like my stream just got cut.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah, we're still on the line, but I think my YouTube got cut because I was showing that fight on DAZN. But if it's on DAZN, really? I should be able to share it. Yeah. They just cut my stream. Damn.
YouTube.
Wow. That
Oh,
sucks. Well,
should we continue? Or?
oh yeah, sure. I mean, we could just chat. It's just us. But they cut me. Man, what the hell? Because what's interesting, people are in the chat and they're still talking. So what the hell? Wow. Do you have the YouTube pulled up or no?
No, I don't at the moment.
Okay.
But I can in a sec. Yeah, let's have a say.
That's crazy.
Oh.
Oh wait, I think I'm back now. I think I'm back. YouTube just
maybe they heard me when I said fuck you, YouTube.
Nige fixed it. Yeah, man. I was out for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm talking to Nigel here on the phone, and we're talking about fucking movie sequels, and then the fucking picture goes out. I don't know what happened. But anyway, Nigel fixed it from the UK. He fixed it.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Yeah. I'm your go-to guy, man. Yeah. With the previous UK call, the fellow was right about the Khan Brook fight. The closer we're getting to it, the more buzz there is because it's one of those. It's like I have to admit, I was having a word with myself for like whether or not I was going to buy it or not. But then I'm like, no, because it should have happened fucking years ago. Because, but understand in a way of the fight being made now, and obviously maybe you could argue that Khan instigated it, or for like matter of timing or some shit like that. Do you know what I mean? Because if you go back and look at the historic run up to this match, he was constantly moving the goalpost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, Kell needs to win a world title. He did exactly that, but nah, he didn't. But he still didn't want to know, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And it's almost like Kell's been chasing after this for almost his entire career, but that's finally here. You know what I mean? And they're both compromised. Obviously, Kell with with his metal face, and Khan with his fine china chin. You know what I mean? It's,
yes.
One of those fights. Yeah. But I think it's going to be a good fight. But I'm going to give it a pass. I think because I want to be more like critical when it comes to a pay-per-view, basically, because I'm one of those that does pay for fights and I pay for my subscription, and if I don't think it's worth it, I'm not going to buy it. You know what I mean? So
it's on Sky Box Office over there, right?
Yes, that's right, Sky Box Office.
So and you have to pay for a Sky subscription on top of that, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm paying for Sky, and then so paying for Sky.
How many pounds is your Sky membership per year? Would you say?
Oh Jesus Christ on the bike! I'm with another provider called Virgin, because you got Sky and you got Virgin.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So I pay for Sky. I pay an additional for Sky Sports. So Sky Sports is like an additional 50, 60 quid per month.
Oh really?
You know what I mean? But
wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so like very recently I've got rid of the Sky because it's fucking.
That's a lot.
Because Sky have got but Sky have got like the Premiership, soccer over there. You know what I mean? Got the Premiership footy, German football, Spanish football. You know what I mean? So it's like,
okay,
if you're a soccer fan, you'll want Sky. If you're got the golf, cricket, all like the major sports are all on Sky, so you're paying, so you're kind of getting your money's worth in a way. Do you know what I mean? But you have to pay extra, which is a bit of a pain in the ass.
Yeah. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. But I do think that it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good fight, and I'll just wait for it to when Sky Sports put it on YouTube on their Sky Sports channel. I'll just watch it then. So I'm good there.
I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you one bit. The pay-per-views are out of control. At least with this matchup, it's two guys that don't like each other, and I think you're going to get a hell of a fight. But if I don't blame you one bit if you don't feel like paying for this, I really don't.
Yeah, but it's like I'll tell you something that it's like I don't know if the US fans of. This shit runs deep, mate. They fucking hate each other, man. I'm telling you, this runs deep, man. This some genuine bad blood, like fucking Hatfield McCoy type shit. This is not good.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
So, yeah. Another thing I wanted to mention as well is like I think I've achieved my personal badge. I got called a coon on Twitter for an opinion over the Haney fight.
You got called what?
I got the old coon thing. You ever
Really?
with that once?
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
Jesus.
And I'm like, So I had a bit of fun with it, and I'm like, well, so I'm like, if my comments on the coon review, it's like, you just let me know so I can book some time off work. I need some like legal representation or something. Do you know what I mean?
I can't believe people use that kind of language so freely. And I guarantee you this person would not say that to your face. Guarantee you.
No, definitely not. No. And it was purely for the fact that I talked about the Haley combo, Loma love fight triangle thing going on, and like how, from what I have seen and what I have heard from different channels and different sources that I've read and like watched, the Haney side is somewhat reluctant to getting it done.
Yes.
Basically, and after what you've said earlier during this episode as well, I feel it's justified as well, you know. And so I've said that, and and that's what led to that comment being made. So I'm like, okay, all right then. But I'm gonna.
Don't you just love Twitter?
It because seriously, like I said before, like I called in, it's fucking cesspool. But you know what, man, it's good to get dirty sometimes, you know. But just what it is. It just is what it is. But I do feel that it just seems like this generation of young fighters, this generation of boxing right now, is going to be very quickly forgotten because it's going to be remembered for the fights we did not have, and the sport suffers for it. I mean, all the shenanigans from all the promoters most definitely have played a part, but we should have got Spence Crawford. They should have fought at least twice. We should have got AJ and Wilder. I mean, those types of fights. We should have seen the Chocolatito Stardust trilogy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? These things should have happened. There's no other sport that I can think of where you have people actively telling you why this fight should not happen. That's total, utter bullshit. It really, really is. And it's it's just all problematic. And I think back in the 80s and 90s and whatnot, like I said, it's not as so oversaturated the market with and overpaying fighters. It was easier to just cross brand and just get fights done. That's what the fans want. You know what I mean? It's like just get it done. I want to see like Stephen Fulton take on the best from Top Rank and Matchroom and all that kind of. That's what it is, and that kind of thing will revive, I feel, the American market. Get the fighters what they want. Do you know what I mean? We should have Tank fighting Devin, Tank fighting Ryan Garcia. Do you know what I mean? You know, and that's what needs to happen. It really, really does, because this whole on the same side of the street thing. Can you imagine fucking Hagler and Hearn saying, "Oh, you got to come to my side of the street"?
Oh God!
Is that? Do you know what I mean?
It wouldn't. Here's the thing. Here's the difference, Nigel. Like in that era, the fans would have held them accountable if they tried to pull that shit. Especially the guys in their neighborhood. Okay, I'm from Detroit. Hearns is a Detroit guy. I can tell you because I know some of those guys he was hanging with. If he came back to the neighborhood and said, "Man, he's got to come to this side of the street. He's got to do this. He's got to," they'd punk Hearns. His own community would hold him accountable and say, "That ain't cool. Fuck that. You need to fight him."
Yeah.
Now these guys on Twitter, they're Captain Save-A-Ho. They protect these guys.
They are.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
Yeah, it's completely insane. It's like when people are really upset about how Charlo was like, it's likely now not to be fighting Canelo. I was like, cool, he can fight Benavidez, he can fight Plant. There are other options out there.
Yep.
Cool. Maybe Benavidez could take his ass up to fucking light heavy where he's supposed to be, without Mr. Sampson saying he needs more money to fight Andre. That kind of bullshit, you know?
Yeah, that whole thing. Ugh. That's another one. People
They
are like,
do.
oh, well, he offered this, he offered that. Just shut up. Were you in the room? Do you know?
Yeah.
Stop.
Exactly, yeah. And I don't profess to be like some sort of expert, but I've been watching the sport since I'm 11 years old, so I've seen the different eras and the different fights and stuff like that. And why these fans are trying to defend the fighters when I hold them to a high standard. If you have a world title, right, I expect you to act like a champion. You take on all comers and win, lose or draw, depending on how you carry yourself in the ring. Sometimes, in the ring, I'm a fan for life. Right? Do you know what I mean? That's how I approach it. So when I think with regards to like the likes of Haney, who's, you know, he's earned his stripes a little bit. He has fought Jojo Diaz, has fought Linares. It's like he's had a better resume than most of the young up and comers in the lightweight division. You know,
I agree with that.
So yeah, but they still need to earn their stripes. You can't tell me they're a fucking star. You know, I will tell you a star when I buy their pay-per-view. That's their indication. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
that's it.
They got. That's it, man. Yeah. Because because I want it to work. I want like I said, the sport is global now. There should be no issue with American fighter going to Australia or whatever country. And though it has happened recently with Jacobs coming over to the UK and stuff like that, it should be more regular. And some certain US fans are complaining about how American fighters are getting screwed when they go abroad. But how do you think like British and European and Mexican fighters feel when they go to Vegas and the road are like 2 or 3 rounds down? Do you know what I mean? It's like everyone's got to take a bite of the shit sandwich. You know what I mean? So
it's a global sport. There's a narrative in American boxing media that still persists where they say, I hate to go here, but it's what other people say. They say, well, Canelo's ducking black American fighters or something. And it's like, well, at super middleweight, who are the black American fighters? The best fighters at that weight just happen to be British guys. One of them's a Mexican American. In some divisions, like 154, it is black American fighters. You know what I'm saying? Or 147. Yeah. But in some divisions, it might be a Japanese fighter, it might be an Eastern European fighter, it might be an Australian fighter. So sometimes you got to get on a plane and you got to go over there to that side of the world and fight those guys over there. Like the mentality has to change. But let me ask you this: for American boxing to get back where it was, do one or more of these platforms need to fail so that we get more consolidation? Because you talk about the 70s and 80s, there was only 2 promoters. It was Bob Arum and Don King. That was it. Those were the 2 powerhouses. And that was it.
I'm going to say, yes. I'm surprised of who do you think I would choose that will fail.
We won't go there.
But we won't go there, no. Yeah. But maybe that is the case because I can believe when you mentioned that story about that fighter from PBC stable. Okay, I've already set it up, but anyway, I'm continue there. Right, okay, and not be able to, like, you know, with regards to the issue with the contract and stuff like that. Like, you think how many fighters are in that position? It's terrible because at the end of the day, that's their livelihood. Do you know what I mean? It's not all about the big stars and, like, you know what I mean? It's these guys. You know what I mean?
They've got almost 200 fighters. There's a few dozen that you hear of. There's 100 plus that you don't hear a lot about, and that's the reality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's a damn shame, but maybe that's the case. Maybe that's the good. Maybe that needs to happen. Maybe it does because we as fans, we've got some. We have had some gems these past like 10, 15 years. We have. You know what I mean? It's a really good fight, but nowhere near the amount that we really should be getting. Because, I mean, Gervonta Davis, for example, if he was to like fight and he lost his next fight, you know, that may be the making of him. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's not all about protecting that own. Do you know what I mean? You need to evolve and develop. You know what I mean? It's not all about protecting your own. It's protecting your own. You ain't fighting shit.
Ray Leonard lost. Thomas Hearns lost. Those guys lost. They haven't paid for a fucking meal since they retired. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those guys are heroes, and they're beloved,
Yeah.
and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, exactly. We can still recall fights, and they were talking like 30, 40 years ago. And like you say, they are revered by all people, all races, all
Yes.
different age demographics, all of it, because of what they did in the ring. And
Thomas Hearns was
like
one
I
of my
said,
heroes growing up in Detroit.
God,
Him,
yeah.
Isaiah Thomas with the Detroit Pistons, but then Thomas Hearns, he was one of my heroes, and the whole city was
Yeah.
behind him. It didn't matter that he lost fights, but if he doesn't fight Duran, Leonard, Hagler, and other guys, there's other good fighters he fought in between all those, but if he doesn't take those fights,
Yeah.
we don't know who he is,
Yeah. Exactly. That's the thing, man. You know what I mean? And like I said in that tweet, actually, that comments, like, you got to pay the cost to be the boss.
Yes.
And that's something that they, that is not the case at all. Not at all, but there's still some hungry ones out there, So
Of course.
it still helps some hope, but not much. Yeah.
I'm with you, man.
Brook, I'm going to let you go because I need another beer.
All right.
So,
have a great weekend, brother.
You take care, man. Thank you again, bro.
All right. Bye. All right, guys. I've been showing, I was talking to Nigel, just video here of Munguia. So this is being reported of him collapsing. Yeah, as you could see, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but he clearly doesn't look good, right? I wouldn't call this collapsing. When I think of collapsing, I think of somebody fainting, falling down, losing consciousness. That's not what this is, but he clearly was. Now, look, I don't know about this venue. Was there issues? Was it hot in there? Was there no AC? I don't know, but he doesn't look good. All right, let's take one more call, guys, then we're going to wrap this up. I think we got Jack here on the line. What's up, Jack? How you doing, man?
No, this is Patrick Bateman, and I have one question. How do I tell my 13-year-old daughter that she doesn't have body dysmorphia? She's just fat and ugly. All jokes aside, no, I just wanted to do my Bateman impression.
That wasn't bad. I'm gonna give you 3 stars on that. That wasn't bad, Jack. That wasn't bad.
Really? I'm actually kind of sick right now, so my voice it's a bit like raspy.
Yeah, you sound a little nasally, a little nasally.
Yeah, there's a funny account on TikTok who does Bateman impressions and just like stupid stuff like, what kind of music do 18 to 19-year-old e-girls listen to? I'm 24 and I want to manipulate women. It's just like, just good stuff. But I appreciate you taking the call. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about one fight. I don't know if you've been talking about it because I just got done working. Have you talked about Edgar Berlanga and Steve Rolls?
No, I have not talked about that one. But,
yeah, kind of obscure, but I think that's a good one, dude.
Berlanga should win that fight. He should, but who knows? Maybe Rolls will put up a better fight than is expected.
No, dude, he's actually like a good fighter. I know, not because Triple G fought him, but he had a lot of success against Triple G. Like he snapped Triple G's head back, was having success in 4 rounds. And Edgar Berlanga like almost lost his last fight. And he got dropped too.
Yeah, you're right. He did get dropped in that fight. I forgot about that. Huh.
Yeah,
I'm looking at Rolls here. The problem with Rolls, man, he's only had one fight against one guy, and that was Golovkin in the first big shot. But that was Golovkin. I mean, come on. I'm with you.
Yeah, Golovkin way harder than Berlanga. I don't really rate Berlanga. They call him the monster. And I'm like, bro, that's Inoue. That ain't you. That's Inoue.
Yeah, Berlanga. The hype was a little over the top.
Yeah, for real. And I wanted to ask you because, dude, just rewatching Kell Brook pre-Triple G. I mentioned this before. Dude, he was so good. Like,
yes.
Who do you think would win? Prime Terrence Crawford or prime Kell Brook pre-Triple G? Bro, I might even take Kell Brook.
I would still take Crawford, but that probably actually no probably about it. That would have been Crawford's toughest fight, and it would have been like 7 rounds to 5. Crawford may have even been dropped in that fight. Like, that's how good Brook was. And you know what? If Brook had won, I wouldn't have been surprised. But I would have favored Crawford like 115, 113, something like that.
Dude, it's just a shame. It's honestly a shame just what happened to his career. Like dude, his chin, by the way, excluding his like eyes and stuff, his chin is A plus, like Kell Brook is. He has an A plus level chin.
Yeah.
And his boxing skills are incredible. Like just the way he slightly moves and he's so calm, it's incredible. But are those fights, the Canelo fights, were they officially like announced, like Bibble Canelo?
No, it's nothing's official yet.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you know what cap means, right?
Cap?
Cap.
No.
Cap, like CH. You don't know what it's like a lie. Like, so you hear Mike Coppinger on say a bunch of stuff, and everyone calls him Mike Cappinger.
Oh,
I'm surprised you don't know that.
I maybe I do know. It's just not a word I use. I don't know. Cap? Yeah.
Yeah, cap. Yeah, kind of new generational thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Triple C started posting like he's back in training camp, and as much as I like love him, dude, if a fighter is like inactive for more than 16 months, that's like where I cut the line up. I don't think they should be in the rankings anymore. What do you think? Do you think there's like a certain amount of time, like where you can take them off?
It depends.
Like inactivity. What do you think?
It depends on the fighter. You know, like some guys, like Gary Russell. Gary Russell, 2 years was too much, but I would normally say like a year. But some guys, as they get older, the time off does them good. So Golovkin, you know, he had two tough fights with Canelo, really tough fight with Derevianchenko. Maybe this time off has done him some good. We'll know soon because he's going to fight Murata in April probably. But yeah, I think it's tough after a year, man. That's really tough.
And one more thing, I don't know much about this dude, I was thinking about Oscar Valdez for some reason. I almost said Conceição, or whatever.
Conceição.
Yeah, but it was about a fight this weekend. Oh yeah, Jaime Munguia's fight. Is this other guy? Do you know much about him?
No, I don't. His resume is shit. The only thing I pulled up his record earlier. He fights out of Costa Rica, and most of his fights have been there. So this is his first fight kind of out of that region. And he's definitely being brought in as an opponent. Most of his opponents are not even like 1 star on BoxRec. That lets you know the level of his resume.
Is he undefeated?
Yeah, he is undefeated.
You know, I know this may sound silly, but dude, those undefeated guys, you still got to be careful with them. Like Otto Wallin versus Tyson.
I agree.
Yeah, the undefeated guys, you gotta be careful with. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, man. It's the weekend. I'm happy. I'm excited. Got a bunch of good fights to look forward to, and I'm glad I was able to jump in at the end here.
All right, man. Enjoy the fights, brother. Have a great weekend, Jack.
Yeah. You too, man. Take it easy.
All right, peace. All right, guys. Rolls Rod in the chat says, mythical wet dream matchup, Munguia versus Benavidez at 168 if Munguia can pull this off. Man, Benavidez, I think, would just be too big for him. I just, size matters. But I don't know. Munguia is probably faster. Actually, definitely faster. So that, you know, may be interesting. But I'll tell you something about Munguia. There's certain things I don't want to say on the record that I know about him and some of his health background. But that guy fought at 154 way too long. And then his team is not cutting weight the right way, in my personal opinion, because he should be able to make 160. It's still going to be a struggle. But making 154 as long as he did may have just killed the kid. Seriously. All right, guys, that's it. Enjoy the Friday wrap up. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and enjoy the fights. And we'll talk about it. We'll chop it all up Monday on the Neutral Corner. All right, guys, great calls. Thanks for all the super chats and all the great commentary. Love you guys. Have a great weekend.